look, ultimately, you're going to have Frank Warren sticking up for his guy. You're going to have Usyk's camp sticking up for their guy. Fans lose out. They can all sort of go back and forth as to why the fight isn't happening. It's the fans that lose out on an undisputed heavyweight title fight between the clear number 1 and number 2 in the division, 2 unbeaten superstars, and boxing misses out again. It would have sold out Wembley in seconds, 90,000 in the UK. So disappointing. And look, I'm not going to say Frank's not telling the truth because I don't want to have a letter through my door, but it's just disappointing.
Let me add something there to you said as well. In their prime as well.
Yeah.
That's key. Undefeated in their prime. That's what's disappointing, Eddie. It is wrong. You can point the finger at either man's door here.
Mm-hmm.
Usyk and Fury are both to blame in this, in my view. Usyk didn't get the deal he wanted, and he decided to walk away. It did come down to the rematch and him accepting 70-30. I kind of worked out that I think these are guesstimates, but after his taxes were paid and paying his team, his management, his promoter, he probably walks away with 10 million from the Wembley fight. Fury probably closer to 25 if that had gone ahead. Right. And if you recall, Alexander Krassyuk put out after the fight collapsed that Usyk will have earned 3 times that. He earned 3 times that for the second fight with Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia last August. The key is Saudi Arabian money has changed something. The expectations are higher, but both men, in my view, have walked away from a fight that they will regret not taking, both of them in the long run, whatever they say publicly, because we deserve these undisputed title fights. Fans support the fighters. It's a shame there isn't a world governing body that orders these fights, frankly.
Yes.
That when there's 2 men that hold all 4 of the belts, if one holds 2 and the other holds 2, or one holds 1 and the other holds 3, that these should be ordered. Fury, in my view, should have taken the fight with Usyk, should have agreed a rematch clause. Usyk, he's walked away because he knows he can get other big fights. He may fight Daniel Dubois now, but he may fight Deontay Wilder as well, which is a very, very interesting prospect too.
Yeah, I find it a massive shame. And look, I look at Fury, and a lot of people talk about Fury potentially being one of the best heavyweights of all time. And look, sort of, the eye test tells you that he can compete against anyone. When you're that big, 6'9", and how big he is, yes, he can. But the body of work there for me can't be compared to the greats of the history of the sport. But there is a bunch of heavyweights circling right now that if he were to tick off, there's a good argument to put him in that top 5, top 10. Your Usyks, your AJs, your Hrgovic's, your Joe Joyce, your Frank Sanchez. And I just feel like it's just not going to give us these fights. And it's so disappointing because he's so good. He can beat all these guys. Like, I favor Fury to beat Usyk. It's a great fight, but I favor Fury. He can beat them all. I just feel like now it's all become about money for him. And it's disappointing because, as you say, 25 million's not to be sniffed at. And he could have made that. And this talk about the rematch clause, Fury seemed to be so confident he would have beaten Usyk. I wonder why he cares about what percentage the split is in a rematch. I don't understand it, Gareth.
Yeah, there's a big power broking game going on. There's a lot of strong arming. They may well end up fighting in Saudi Arabia later in the year, but there's ifs and buts now, depending on what happens in the interim in between that. If Wilder and if Daniel let's say if Usyk's really interested in undisputed, he's got to face his mandatories.
Yeah.
If he is genuinely interested in money, because he is closing in on the end of his career.
Was he 35? What is he?
35, 36. I think 35, 36. He's had a long career. I mean, he's an amazing boxer. Like you said, him and Fury was no foregone conclusion. I favoured Fury to win the fight, maybe late or even on points in a fantastic spectacle, an intriguing matchup, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But I think he may change course now if he fights Wilder in the Middle East, that's big money. If he fights Daniel Dubois in the UK, it's not very big money, I suspect. It's an O2 Arena fight, probably that. Yeah. If he continues to fight his mandatories, he and Fury could meet down the line. it's very, very unsatisfactory, but it does come down, I think, boxing's always been like this. It comes down to the money and money and egos, and the egos get buried when the money's enough, and that's what happens in boxing. It is wild and lawless at times, and you get the wild running it at times, and there's no doubt Fury's irrational, and there's no doubt that at the moment the court of public opinion is strongly against him. But I think, having spoken to Alexander Krassyuk and Frank Warren through the whole period of this negotiation and several others, they weren't very happy with the contract all the way along the Usyk team. That's what I was being told behind the scenes.